What's going on, guys? This is the Matt and Zach Sports Podcast, or formerly known as that. It's Sports and Stuff with Matt and Zach. We're live again on the
second
Facebook.
time on Facebook.
Yes, guys.
Here we are.
So we wanted to give you guys our 2019 NBA free agency kind of reaction post. I mean, it's still going on technically, but
we hasn't even been 20. Well, actually, it is. It has been 24 hours.
24 hours as of 6. We're at 25 hours. Math.
Yeah.
That's some good math right there for you guys. But we wanted to give you our reactions to some of the deals that are going on as we're currently talking, but all the deals that happened in the last 24 hours.
I would like to say that this has probably been maybe the craziest 24 hours in NBA free agency.
I would say, you know what? I was listening to the Woj podcast on the way home from work this afternoon, and he was saying that the movement to the 6 o'clock deadline or the 6 o'clock start time had a huge factor in all this, because usually at midnight there's a lot of things going on, but it usually doesn't pop off like this. But it being that it was at 6 o'clock on a Sunday, everybody wanted to get a part of it, and I absolutely loved it. Great job by the NBA again.
Oh, moving it to 6 o'clock, that was fantastic.
Forward thinking. This NBA, there's a lot of things that they're looking to change here and there, but the free agency should stay like this. 6 o'clock on a Sunday. Heck, make it a 6 o'clock on a Saturday. I can open up a few brews. You can watch. I have a big old party for that.
Yeah. I mean, especially as somebody like me that is not a huge fan of being up till midnight, I love that they moved it to 6 o'clock. But let's start by talking about something I didn't tell you I was going to start this with. Before we get into the players, what has happened, let's talk about tampering.
Okay.
Like the fact that there was so much tampering and it acted like it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
KD was making his announcement at 6, and that's when free agency started. Like, they weren't already having these conversations.
But the funny thing is, at 4:30, Woj reported that he was already going to Brooklyn. Like they're not tampering, but they tampering.
Exactly.
If you catch me looking down at the phone, it's because guess what? I want to make sure that I'm getting your guys' feedback. So if you guys want to talk about something, you want to get our opinions on it, or you just want to BS with everybody that's here, get over to the comment section. Let us know, okay, guys?
And also, let us know how our interaction is with the camera, each other. This is new to us. This is only our second time doing it in person on video. Used to doing it, we've been doing
mics over
about
a year,
with mics. So if you have any input on how we're doing, let us know.
Guys, before we get really started into this, I want to thank everybody on the community on Twitter and on Facebook. We hit some milestones. I know Facebook, 100 people, that doesn't seem like a milestone to many, but to us, it is absolutely. There's 100 people, over 100 people that want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Whether they don't care and they're just doing it because they like us,
for sure,
like my wife and your wife and a couple of our friends probably, but also just because we really want to thank you guys to getting onto the Facebook part of it. And then on Twitter, we over 1,000, bro. We got 1,000 over. We're almost at 1,100 Twitter followers. So get over, if you're watching this and you're a Facebook person and you need to go over to Twitter and follow us, please go over and do that, and vice versa, because we're going to be posting this on YouTube. We're going to get this over on Twitter. So, again, let us know if there's something that you want to talk about when you guys do follow us, but we really appreciate everything that you guys have been doing, because we're just two guys that
really talk sports and stuff.
Yeah, sports and stuff.
We'll get a little bit of stuff. There's going to be a lot of focus on NBA free agency today, because that's just what today's about.
Absolutely.
Well, we got a little bit of stuff. We've seen a couple movies recently, but let's get right into it.
We got to talk about it. The clear-cut biggest stories, Brooklyn Nets going ham and signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan, all to, well, obviously Kyrie and Durant were on the slightly below max tier.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Jordan, they're 4 years or 4 years or 40 or 2 years. I can't. It's here, but to get those players, that caliber of players, for a team that won 42 games or 42-40, made the NBA playoffs.
DeAndre's was four
years 40
million.
4 years 40. Thank you. To get a guys of this magnitude. Now I'm not talking about DeAndre Jordan, because I have a beef with DeAndre Jordan's deal here in a second.
We'll get to that.
But I do love them getting Kevin Durant in any capacity, even if he comes back from his Achilles injury and he's only 85% of what he was. That's still better than 100% of D'Angelo Russell.
Agreed.
And people will roast Kyrie Irving because of what happened in Boston, what happened in Cleveland. He's essentially the Grim Reaper. He comes there, kills your franchise. I will sit here and say that he's better than D'Angelo Russell. So you got to roll with who you think is the better player. And in my opinion, that he was the better player, so you roll with him. And so you team those two guys up. It makes Brooklyn interesting.
Here's what's interesting about the Kyrie situation is Kyrie's been, in the league? 10 years? 9 years at this point?
Mm-hmm.
He's never chosen where he wanted to play.
Nope.
This is the first time in Kyrie's career that he said, this is where I want to play. This is where I'm going to play. Because he was either drafted or traded since day one.
Matthew Donna Seaburn, there has not been any updates on Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard is taking his time here. Kawhi will get to and literally, we'll just go right into it. Let's go into Kawhi Leonard situation.
Probably going to bounce around a lot because as we
questions,
everything,
as we have questions, as we want to talk. I mean, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, everyone's heard everyone's opinion on it. So our opinion on that, well, guess what? It's going to be the same as everyone's. We love it. Obviously, you love it, right?
Yes, but I think what is interesting is something that's not talked about is the influence that made this happen. Kevin Durant, what agency is he signed to?
Rock Nation.
What agency did Kyrie just sign to?
Rock Nation.
And Jay-Z.
Jay-Z used to do this back in the day, right?
I think it's hard to...
Is it too... Am I cool still? Is this what he does still?
I really don't know. Okay. I don't know.
Let me know. Am I cool? Am I cool, guys? Because literally every podcast, I need to know if I'm cool or not. But Kawhi Leonard, we haven't heard anything because he hasn't updated his LinkedIn profile yet of what team he's playing for. Because I feel like that would be like the most Kawhi move.
The most jokes are,
I know.
Oh, he's going to release it on PBS.
Christine Leahy of the formerly the Coward Show.
Yeah.
She was like the whatever that was to him. And she said that was pretty funny. I thought the LinkedIn one was funny. I was trying to try to steal it for myself, but I guess you're going to catch me in a lie like that. It's down to two teams. You got to think, right? It's down to the Toronto Raptors, LA Lakers.
You think the Clippers are completely out of it?
I do. I really do. Because I think the Lakers have put themselves into a position right now where they can offer Danny Green a contract there. Now, it won't be a huge one. It'll be like a $5.8 million one with the mid-level exception. Okay. And guys, if you need to know anything about salary caps and all the things that you need to learn about the taxes and all that, let me know. Because your boy
I've never seen anybody that knows the numbers. You would think you were good at math.
You would think that'd be good at math. I'm okay at math. No, I'm not like a mental genius when it comes to math. But if you need to know or if you have any questions on, why can this team sign that and why can they do this, that, and the other, I'll walk you through it because it's actually quite simple once you get down to the basics of it.
And just because neither of us believe this is true, but there have been a few little rumors that Kawhi could make a decision tonight. You may see me actively on the computer because I am going to keep Twitter open just in case something happens. Because, I mean, there are still some decent names, and I think that's something that we'll talk about with Kawhi is
absolutely
what is left, especially with the Lakers.
Absolutely.
Kawhi is basically holding the Lakers hostage right now.
They are. And at the end of the day, I'm looking down here. I'm going to look down here. I'm going to look here. I'm going to look there. You know why? Because there's so much greatness going on when it's the NBA free agent. I call it. You ever play the game Fusion Frenzy back in the Dow House with us?
Yes.
You know how I was like, Fusion Frenzy. Well, this is free agent frenzy. And I know my boys that at the Dow House and anyone that's ever played that game knows what I'm talking about.
What Mr. Strader actually referred to our show today when I was talking about it. I think that's exactly what
Mr. Strader.
Free agent frenzy.
Free agent frenzy. We got this, man. So we're going to be looking all over the place. And if you guys hear something in the comments, hit us up. We need to know because I got to know.
Yeah, give us your opinion. As we talk about Kawhi a little bit more, where do you think Kawhi goes? Do you think it's going to be Lakers, Toronto? Like Matt said, he believes it's down to those last two teams.
I think it's down to the Lakers and Toronto because when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's no smoke when they're talking about the Clippers. The Lakers have a lot of smoke and Toronto has a lot of smoke. And if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I have to weigh this. In Toronto, he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Comfortable meaning he knows the players there. He knows the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. He knows the training staff, which is very important to him. He kind of knows the layout of the city. He already knows that he's a god amongst them. And I'm just throwing that around like he's not a deity, but you know what I'm saying? He's looked at as this so much above any player that Toronto's ever had.
Yeah.
So he can do no wrong there. So if he goes to Toronto, stays in Toronto, everything's laid out for him to succeed still. The Lakers are a relative unknown. The new coaching staff. New training staff. You don't know who the players are on the team
because they still only have.
Well, they got 5 players now because they signed. They signed. What's his name? I can't even remember. Troy Daniels, a guy that was popular like 6 years ago. So they signed these guys. So they don't know exactly what is going on there when it comes to players. And then also Anthony Davis has been hurt a lot in his career.
Yes.
And LeBron last year got hurt. You want to talk about load management? Now LeBron has load management probably. He gets days off. Kawhi takes days off. Anthony Davis are probably going to want him to kind of take days off. Say Anthony Davis gets hurt and LeBron gets hurt. Kawhi can't take many days off because in the Western Conference, if you take too many days off with those two guys out, you're not making the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, but I do think that by having the luxury of having all three of them, you have the luxury of being able to sit more games than you would expect. Just like another team that we'll get to a little bit later, and the Sixers did some stuff that I think does that same management of things.
I love what the Sixers. I love what the Sixers have done. Casey Palumbo shout out. Yes, I got to know. He knows the reference.
We do a lot of reference,
dude. That's why we do sports and stuff, because the stuff we know so much.
People are gonna get tired of our movie references at some point.
I mean,
guess what? They're never gonna stop.
They're never gonna stop, and I don't care, because if you don't like us, then just watch us and I'm mute. I don't care. I don't.
At really least care. Watch.
Yeah, at least watch. So
at least look at our faces.
Let's talk about the Knicks in this situation, because it kind of ties back into the Brooklyn Nets.
The fact that they did nothing.
They got well. See, I like Julius Randle. I love Julius Randle.
All right, we can sit here and talk. Let me stop you for a second. Yes, Julius Randle.
I'm gonna take a drink.
I agree.
My tea. I'm gonna sip on my tea.
I think Julius Randle is a good pickup, but not for a team whose owner has been yelling for the last 6 months.
James Dolan.
We're gonna have Zion. We're gonna have KD. Everyone's coming to the Knicks. Everyone loves New York. Everyone's coming to the Knicks. Nobody came to the Knicks.
So question for you, and I'll answer this, and I have a question for you guys out there as well here. Do you think James Dolan really didn't want to?
Yeah, Taj Gibson was a steal in 2009.
Do you think, and guys, Zach, do you think that James Dolan actually didn't want to offer the max, or he read the writing on the wall and said, well, we're not getting him, so I'm going to come out as a PR statement and say that?
All right, I will personally give some input on this, because I watched Get Up this morning. And they were interviewing Woj, and he got heated because the whole group at Get Up were basically saying the second option of what you just said.
Okay.
Basically, it was a cop-out, and that they said that just because they didn't get him. And so Dolan came out afterwards and said, well, you know what, we really didn't want him, and just because of his injury. And Woj got a little heated, and he's like, we reported this before KD made his decision. He was telling us this, and he's like, and now people are mixing my words to make it look like I reported something that's not true. So is there some saving face there? Of course, but I don't think it's all that.
Come on, man. Like they didn't take a meeting with him.
I understand.
He didn't want to go meet with them. At that point, they're like, all right, well, let's try to save face here by saying this, because James Dolan will do that. They're trying to reference, the Amari Stoudemire contract. We did that. And we just said F it, and we threw the money at him ignored the medicals, and look what that happened to us. They're hiding behind a whole bunch of stuff. If Kevin Durant wanted to be a New York Knick, Kevin Durant would be a New York Knick right now. Guaranteed.
Well, yeah. I mean, he gets to make his own decisions. So
exactly. But that's why I said I think New York was sitting there going like, James Dolan was sitting there going like, man, I'm going to look terrible because I've been praising – I've been saying we traded Porzingis because we're gonna get Zion, we're gonna get Durant, and we're gonna get Kyrie Irving. That's all I kept saying.
Here's the thing I find funny about the Knicks is people want to keep talking about playing at the Garden, like New York City. That doesn't matter anymore. No one cares about any of that type of stuff anymore.
They care about it once a year when they go there and play, and that's about it.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is the allure of that used to be something big there doesn't matter anymore. I don't even think that matters in LA anymore.
No,
I just don't think players care about that concept anymore.
So the Knicks, to me, they're obvious losers in this situation because they were promising this, that, and the other, and they ended up with Taj Gibson, who I think is just Joakim Noah reincarnated for the Knicks.
Took Bobby Portis from
the Wizards. Which Wizards. Oh, took him from the Wizards. I got you. I actually don't mind the Bobby Portis deal. It's 2 years. I think it's like 2 years, like $30-some-odd million. And then I actually really like the Julius Randle move. I think Julius Randle, it's funny. It's really funny to me about the Knicks, though, because Enes Kanter came out, a week and a half ago and said Zion Williams is just a less athletic Julius Randle.
Yeah.
And the Knicks couldn't get Zion, so they went with the next best option with less athletic Zion. But I actually think Julius Randle is primed to have a big-time career in New York. I think the New York fans are really going to like him.
And I like the Alfred Payton pickup at $8 million a year.
Yeah,
$8 million a year because $8 million today is $800.
Yeah.
Like in the NBA. So like the fact is JJ Barea is getting $2.5 million and he's 45.
Tim Frazier's getting $2 million, and I'm like sitting there going like, wait,
ridiculous.
Tim Frazier's been out of the league for 2 years. I feel like
I barely even know anymore. Who the heck is Troy Daniels at this point?
Troy Daniels. I mean, he was really big 8 years ago. Man.
I know.
So let's talk about some more point guard movement when it comes to the Boston and Charlotte. Yeah. Pretty much just doing a swap for Scary Terry down in Charlotte for Kemba Walker up in Boston. I think this has the potential of being very good for both teams because Charlotte needs a point guard. Kemba was leaving.
Yeah.
Scary Terry has proven that he can be a starting level point guard. Now, I don't know how long he can be a starting level point guard in this league, but he shows the ability to, and they're getting him for a heck of a lot cheaper than they would be getting for Kemba. And they maybe could start clearing salary with Batum coming off after next year and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist coming off and I think it's Kaminsky still.
Kaminsky is a free agent right now.
Yeah, it's not Kaminsky. The other Zeller. They have Cody Zeller's on. They have a few tall white guys that don't do a lot on that team.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that the Charlotte's trying to move into the part where let's not see a Terry Rose. Let's give him a test run and not pay him a ton, but a ton in the sense of this is Terry Rozier's big payday.
Yeah.
If he's good, we can re-up him when we have more cap and be aggressive in the market. And if not, we can let him go and we can completely restart. So I actually like what Charlotte did there by getting Scary Terry out of Boston. Okay, he wasn't going to stay there. And they ended up getting a starting level point guard and a heck of a lot cheaper than Kemba Walker.
I'm just now doing the math on Terry Rozier, what that is per year. Wow. For him.
What is it? What is it?
3 years, 58. That's like somewhere a little over 19 per year.
It's like 18, 19.
I don't break down.
It's like 18, 19. He'll the first year of that deal will probably be like 15, and they'll escalate it after that. But again, in this NBA, a starting level point guard for 18 mil is actually kind of a steal, considering that
we don't know if Terry Rozier is a starting level point
guard. But that's the thing. They only had to do a 3-year deal with him, so they test drive him while they still have some of their Nicholas Batum on there. If he's good, we'll take him on in his in the future after the 3rd year. If not, we have fresh, clean slate when it comes to cap room. We can suck for a couple years, get some players in the draft, and then blow that money on potentially making Charlotte a destination to come to.
I mean, he's getting $7 million more than Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, well, Ricky Rubio is a one-note point guard. I'm not a fan of Ricky Rubio's game.
I will say this as a Wizards fan, looking at these numbers, and he would have never gotten paid the money that Rozier did. But if the Hornets are getting Rozier for 3 years, $58 million, and the Bulls are getting Thomas Satoransky 3 years, $30 million. I don't think Satoransky is that much worse than Rozier.
No, but again, you remember, and maybe they could have said, well, he's only like a $15 million point guard per year. Let's try to match a little bit more of the salaries to make it where we don't have to dump another player in.
Okay.
So there could be some of that stuff in there as well when it comes to the sign and trades and everything. So let's not pump the brakes and go that far with it.
Understand what you're saying.
And then Kemba going to Boston, I think it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, Kemba is – I've always said this. Kemba is pre-LeBron Kyrie, a guy that has crazy handles, can score, was looked at as a really good player that hasn't had anybody to pair up with. The best player he's played with is Nicholas Batum in the year they made the playoffs. That's the best player he's played with.
Okay.
I mean, you can argue wasn't Dwight Howard there a year? I don't even remember. Dwight Howard's played on 93 teams in the world. He's been on every team I can ever imagine.
Yes. Close to it.
Yes.
I mean,
so I think it's a match made in heaven because he was a great college star and then he's been lost.
But here's my only problem with it is they may suffer from the same issue they had with Kyrie. You have a bunch of young guys that need the ball, and Kemba is a ball-dominant point guard.
But I also think that Kemba is a guy that, under Brad Stevens, who is regarded as a very good NBA coach, but he has that college mentality a little bit, like, let's everyone share the ball, it's ball movement. He runs great out-of-bounds plays. Yeah. I think he fits in well with that team when they're doing that. But also, I mean, that means Jason Tatum takes the next step, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kemba is Kyrie. I don't think Kemba wants to win. And I think Kemba's going to do more to like want to win. So maybe he'll sacrifice a little bit parts of his game to win. Unlike Kyrie, a guy that's won, guy has shoe deals and movies and all this stuff. And he's like, I want to show that I'm the man. He had a point to prove. LeBron, I don't need LeBron. Mm-hmm. I'm going to Boston. This is my team. I'm going to run it to a title. So I think he was more like, he's gonna fall on the sword. It's gonna be Kyrie, my team, and nobody's team.
Yeah.
So I think this team will play better with Kemba personally, and I love.
I agree with that.
And I love the Enes Kanter pickup for him too for a cheap replacement of Al Horford. He's nowhere near the talent of Al Horford, but I think he can do them something.
Well, yeah, of course it's an improvement because you had that poor team chemistry between just the issues alone between Rozier and Kyrie, just that little bit is gone. They're both gone.
And Rozier needed to go. And Rozier needed to go because he wasn't going to play second fiddle to Kemba.
Yeah.
And he's been playing plain and simple. He did the whole, I'm going to go on the national TV and I'm going to do all this to get out of there. So let's talk about another point guard movement and probably the most shocking one of the day, of the night, late night. D'Angelo Russell signs a max deal with the Brooklyn Nets and then gets traded to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
4 years, $117 million to Golden State. Golden State then had to trade Andre Iguodala, and I think they're going to have to renounce the rights or do something with Sean Livingston's deal to make sure that this goes through. So you're looking at a team that has no Clay for at least 2/3 of the season. Mm-hmm. Steph, Russell, Green, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because they might be getting priced out with Kevon Looney because you got to understand, just because they made this deal and Kevin Durant didn't sign, they signed another guy that's getting a max. Now, he's not getting the super max that Kevin Durant was going to get, but any tax dollar they go over the threshold, they're paying $3 for every dollar over the threshold. So you got to remember, if Kevon Looney say some team goes out there and like, I like Kevon Looney, I want to give him like $12.5 million per year. For 3 years.
Okay.
That's not a terrible contract in the NBA terms. I think it's a terrible contract for Kevon Looney. I think Looney fits Golden State well because he does the dirty work. Mm-hmm. I think he's like a younger Bogut for that team when they were in 15. But they can price, like say a team wants to price him out of the market for the Golden State Warriors, and that either means the Golden State Warriors match and will be paying not $12 million, but $12 million times 3 every year they're over the cap, or do the math for me. That's $36 million. So be at 36, and you say I'm bad at math. Or they can let him go, and next thing you know, they're again the Golden State Warriors are going to be a team that's going to be living in that minimum salary land like the Lakers. There's a lot of teams that are living in min salary land. So
min salary land. Did you create that land?
I wish I did. Business idea. Let's go. All right. I'm just saying. I mean, D'Angelo Russell going there doesn't make sense basketball wise.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense financial wise. But I think it makes sense for one thing, and I don't want to cut you off here, but I think you had to make the deal for asset. D'Angelo Russell becomes a trade asset. The SB Nation article that I read, and also, I mean, I was sitting there going like, wow, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because at best you have your lineup of.
You're going to force either D'Angelo or Clay to run as your small. I mean, we both know that it's positionless basketball now, but. It's one thing to run with 3 forwards, but to run 3 guards and push one of them to that 3 spot is not.
It's terrible defensively in the sense of Klay Thompson's great defensively, and you'll fit him on the best. But D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry together defensively, I mean, D'Angelo Russell graded out as one of the worst defending point guards in the league.
Okay.
The problem with them, and I hope maybe that Steve Kerr can whip him into shape, for lack of a better term there, when it comes to defense, is because he's 6'5". I mean, he has the body frame to be, and he's a quick, athletic guy. He has the body potential to be a good defensive player in this league.
But one of those things that you were looking at stating that he might not even last until February?
No, he could. If they think that it's not going to work, he becomes a tradable asset at that salary, which – you tell me Phoenix isn't going to sit there and go like, oh, we want this. Or Minnesota with Andrew Wiggins, which I would probably – I don't have paper to take and throw. Throw that idea out the door. That was a towel. I have like 17 of them. I do. Yeah, one. I got one over there. We got towels for days over here, okay? But, throw that idea out the window because Andrew Wiggins is actually worse defensively than D'Angelo Russell, which I didn't think is even possible. But They have ability to go into the market if a big time player goes, I don't want to be here anymore. Like Anthony Davis, I don't want to be here anymore. And they go like, hey, we got D'Angelo Russell, and he's on there for 3 more years. Do you want that deal? And you get a all-star 25-year-old point guard, and you just give us that guy that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Do you think D'Lo agreed? Like, do you think they asked his opinion and said, "Will you do this?" Or do you think they?
Well, I think they just said, "Hey, we're gonna offer you the max. Do you want it?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I want the max." And he does it, and then maybe he's sitting there going like, "I'm gonna go to Golden State, and we're gonna be the reason why we win another title." For me personally, what I'd love is, and I know I don't want to add another point guard to the mix, but I'd love them to be like, "Hey, Kevin Love, go out to Golden State." I think Kevin Love fits perfectly into what Golden State wants to do. The Cavs kind of want to get rid of that salary and be like, "Hey, D'Angelo Russell, you can come here to Cleveland, be the man again." And then that means you shepherd off one of your other point guards and, whatever, maybe get Con Sexton out there or Darius Garland, which he makes his NBA Summer League debut tonight. The Cavaliers played at 7, so I'll be watching some highlights tonight.
Summer League has already started.
It started today. So
that's ridiculous because we both know that those trades, that means that a lot of those draftees aren't playing, correct? They're not. Or they play for their original team?
I don't know. I don't know what don't quote me on any of that because I'm not a summer league expert. But so when it comes down to it, I'd love a trade like that for my Cavs and anything like that. But yeah, it's a weird move in the sense of I never saw this coming.
Yeah,
never in a million years thought that D'Angelo Russell would be in Golden State Warriors.
They had to do something. They had to keep their name in the news.
Well, they're also opening up a brand new arena, and if they rolled out a lineup of like Curry, Jacob Evans, and Josh Bell, and Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney, you're like sitting there going like, well, this isn't Golden State. Like what alternate reality did I wake up into? So they at least have some juice to open the building. People are probably excited in Golden State. I don't think that this makes them title contenders in any less or more than they were going into the season. They just add a point guard that's very, very, very good, but very, very bad defensively, and so is Steph Curry. So I don't know what's going on. So
let's talk about a trade that you really liked.
Well, tell me which one I liked.
Well, at least you told me that you liked it.
I don't know. Well,
I like Philly, Miami.
Dude, I love this trade for both teams. Essentially, I love this. Your thoughts, by the way. I've talked a lot. Your thoughts. I'm gonna sit. I just want to sip my tea.
All right, so we'll start. Well, okay, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
That's not done yet.
It is.
Not Denver, sorry. Dallas has come to an agreement on their side of it.
Dallas, I don't think, is a part of it anymore.
Dallas dropped out of it.
It's a 4-team deal, and it happened as I was driving home, so please don't quote me. Everyone gets a max. Thank you, Jimmy. D'Lo for K-Love, Matthew Don Seabird. If you said that before I said that, I apologize. I actually didn't have that up. I just brought it up. I love that deal if that can happen. So, and then question from Jimmy, will Con Sexton get a max deal if he hits free agency? Bro, come on, man. He'll get what if he's good, he'll get the rookie max deal, which is far less than what a max, super max or any of those things could be. I don't know, Jimmy. He just played 1 year. Like let's have this time to marinate. Gosh,
you always ask questions that just don't make sense, Jimmy.
So the deal.
Okay.
What I understand is it was a 4-team deal. I don't know the 4-team.
So now it's a 4-team. Okay.
I don't know.
Because I know Dallas was like.
If Dallas is involved still, if you guys have heard this out there watching, let me know. But I know Mo Harkless got traded to the Clippers in a part of this deal to finish it up. So go with it. I absolutely love it. So what were you about to say about?
I want to see. I want to kind of see these details.
Right, well, then I'll waste time. That's all good.
Because it kind of became a mess because Dallas was like, I want this, and then Miami wanted to give them Goran Dragic, and they didn't want him. And they wanted what? Their rookie? Is that or
they wanted
second-year guy?
They wanted Olynyk and some other guy, and I wasn't paying attention to the name of the guy yet.
But okay, the highlight of the entire trade, obviously, is the Jimmy Butler to Miami. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
So look up the deal. I'll answer some questions here. Casey Palumbo, yes, I'd still give KD the max just because even if he comes back at 85%, he's better than 90% of the people in the league. But I understand where your hesitation would be because it is an Achilles injury. He is 32 years old. This contract takes him up to about 36 years old, so I understand your pause there. Ron Lahav, I really like that. Nick's real pipe dream is for LaMelo Ball next year. Yes. I also, we've talked about this off pod, and I've talked about it in the group chats and everything. I love LaMelo Ball's game. LaMelo, the kid. I love his game. He's going to Australia. He's going to play with men. He is 6'6". He's like Lonzo, but a better shooter. And Lonzo's going to be a solid NBA player. I love the balls. I know. I should get a T-shirt saying, I love ball. I love the balls.
You should, because I don't know anybody that is obsessed with them as much as you are. It's ridiculous.
Nicholas Carpenter, thank you so much. It was Sixers, Portland, Miami, and the Clippers are all 4 teams. Matthew Donald-Seaver, Deion Waiters is the GOAT. And are you excited about the NBA being competitive for the next 10 years? I honestly thought that the NBA was pretty competitive last year when Kevin Durant got hurt. So, yes, Jimmy, we are pretty excited here. But
so basically the trade is putting what trades that I knew, like we knew were happening, somehow mixing them
intertwining
together.
Everything together.
Intertwining other trades together. But, okay, so the two big things we'll start
with the big ones.
The Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson is the big thing there. Jimmy Butler.
Love it.
I like Josh Richardson coming back. Losing Jimmy and getting Josh Richardson back is good for Philly. I don't see why Jimmy Butler wanted to be in Miami.
I don't get it.
They don't have anything.
They don't. And if you are a Twitter follower of ours, I didn't put it up on the Facebook. I'll put it up later. I have a meme up there of, when Will Smith with the last Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode where the whole living room's cleaned out and he's just sitting there like almost like cry. I said that that's going to be Jimmy Butler halfway through the season when he realized he's the only player in Miami.
Well, honestly, what do they have? So they still have Goran Dragic.
Sure.
Justice Winslow.
Sure. He's okay. He's a better player.
I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but Adebayo. Who's now, I guess, going to be – well, I got Myers Leonard, but I think – I don't know. Very nice weather.
So what I want to say, guys, Josh Richardson's a poor man version of Jimmy Butler without the attitude and less wanting the ball.
Okay.
Because Jimmy Butler wants the ball. I think what they did, adding Horford, which I know you're going to bring in there, but that brings back that. So Jimmy, you lose a little bit of defense with Josh Richardson to Jimmy Butler, not a ton. Josh Richardson scored 2 less points than Jimmy Butler did last year. He was about as good a defender, is a decent rebounder. Nobody knows about him because nobody watched Miami Heat basketball last year, except if you were watching Dwayne Wade's retirement.
I did.
Did you,
watched them only because.
They play the Wizards?
The Wizards.
Okay, fine. But no, he's like America's best kept secret or the NBA's best kept secret. I think he's going to thrive in that situation because he's just going to sit in the corner and he's going to be getting shots on shots with all the other stuff going on with Embiid, with Tobias Harris, which I thought was brilliant bringing him back. He's 5 years younger than Jimmy Butler. He cost you 3 first-round picks. You better brought one of them back, and I think Tobias Harris is a better fit for that team. A superstar-ish. He's a Swiss Army knife. He has everything on there. He could do everything very well, but he's not like the best scorer in the league. He's not the best rebounder in the league. But if you put all of the skills and attributes together for one person, he might be the most well-versed NBA player in the league. I love Tobias Harris.
I want to point out, because we're going to go back to Philly in a second, but in regards to Miami, Nick Carpenter saying Miami's trying for Bradley Beal. Not happening. It's not happening.
I'm gonna sip my tea while you're talking.
Go and look at Miami's roster. There is nothing that helps Washington reload on anything. There's nothing. There is nothing to help them that they would take for Bradley Beal. It absolutely will not happen unless they bring in a third team. And the Wizards it was funny. The Wizards were like, no, we don't want to make a trade with Bradley Beal. And then the Heat said, okay. Like 3 hours later, the Heat are right back. Hey, do you want to trade him? Can you give us Bradley Beal? It's because they have the itch because they don't have any good players outside of now Jimmy Butler.
Guys, and I love Horford there. I think it gives them, and you can bring up, because I'm not going to steal your thunder. Go ahead.
Is this interesting? Because actually, I think he's still watching. Speaking of Nicholas Carpenter, we were at a family reunion. He's a cousin of mine. And he told me, he goes, Al Horford will come to Philadelphia. And that way they're going to play him and Embiid and give them a chance to rest Embiid at times more than they would have in the past.
Absolutely.
And I said, no. Horford's not going to Philly. And literally like 24 hours later, there it was.
In Philly.
So, Nick, good call on that.
Call.
I'll give you full credit for all of that. But after thinking about it, it's a great fit. Like
it is. There's a lot of great fits there. Losing J.J. Redick is going to hurt because he was a guy that brought the outside scoring to, and he's a better shooter than Josh Richardson is. And I'm not going to proclaim Richardson as a J.J. Redick type knockdown shooter. But I think you missed a little bit with losing J.J. Redick there, going to New Orleans, which is a perfect fit for him. And is there anybody that's done more with just one dimension to his game than J.J. Redick? This guy's getting $20 million deals, $13 million deals. This dude's going to live off of just being able to shoot. And I love it. He's not Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver never got paid like this.
Yeah.
J.J. Redick getting paid.
Kyle Korver just shoots the three.
Wait. Casey Palumbo just said, Kawhi to the Lakers official question mark.
No.
Did Woj tweet it?
There is some big news.
What? It's not big news. What is it?
Kevin Looney staying with the Warriors.
What's the specs on that?
3 years, $15 million.
Only
$5 million a year.
So Kevon Looney did not want to. He wanted to stay in Golden State. That's what that was. And he did Golden State a favor because that's going to be a cheap tax bill too to be able to pay. Speaking of taxes, our accountant Matthew Don Seabird said no state or city tax in Miami. All that money for him. I get it, Jimmy Butler, man.
Jimmy Butler does kind of seem like the type of guy that would just be like, pay me. Let me score 40, and I don't care if I win a championship. Like, just pay me and let me play.
Pay to play.
Yeah.
Love it. So you do some research on Woj. Make sure that's
I'm looking at Woj right now. It's just Kevin Looney and some Pau Gasol stuff from an hour
ago. So Casey Palumbo, thanks for trolling us on this episode. I really appreciate that. Unless you really think that something happened, I apologize.
Casey Palumbo trolling? What?
Never happening.
Never seen that happen before.
And so let's talk about some teams keeping their guys. We already brought them up. Tobias Harris stayed with them. Got a max deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. We have Dame Lillard that's about to get paid.
It's crazy.
Dude, Dame Lillard.
So much money.
6 years, $258 million.
It's insane.
It was, I think, the player option year, his 6-year player option year, he will be making like $54.4 million in one season of basketball. I'll tell you this right now. I'm looking into the future, Zach.
All right.
I'm looking into the future. Damian Lillard picked up that player option for the last year of his contract. Already, I can tell you right now, $54 million. He definitely picked up that player option.
Dude, it's insane how much money he's being paid.
I mean, a guy that deserves it for what he does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, here's the thing, and if there's people out there that don't understand, there's something that deserve, and do they need this money, or should the teachers get more money? Obviously, when it comes to teachers deserve more money, all that stuff. When we're talking about sports, though, like I can right now quit doing whatever I do and be a teacher tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but I can become a teacher. I cannot become an NBA basketball player. And that's why these guys get paid like this, because they're the 1% of the 1%.
I'm just going to walk away from this conversation.
Why?
Because you're just opening doors that I don't want to be
open.
No.
I'm not trying to sit there and say that teachers don't deserve to get paid more. Oh, God dang, man. You're going to put me out like that?
With the market, yes.
Chris Middleton re-signed. We're just going to move on. Chris Middleton re-signing for max deal there.
$1 billion.
Jamal Murray, we're signing for a max deal in
another
Denver.
$1 billion.
These teams have to do this, though. Like, Milwaukee had to sign Chris Middleton to whatever Chris Middleton wanted to, because if they let him walk, they didn't have any cap room to sign anybody else.
I get that. Chris Middleton and Jamal Murray, good basketball players, do not deserve that kind of money.
It's the system and them being restricted.
And that's another reason why the Wizards should not trade Bradley Beal, because he's making $25 million a year.
Yeah.
Great contract when he signed it for him. Good money for him. Now it's pennies.
And then Vucevic re-signed in Orlando. What was it? I think it was 4 years, $90 million.
4 years, $100 million.
Yeah, 4 years, $100 million, so $25 a year for a guy that was his first time being an All-Star. I think that the NBA, these are like some of the big ones. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope, we're good. So I want to talk about some teams. And here, do you have anything that I missed? Go right ahead.
No, I think you hit all of the major ones. I mean, we want to hit on a couple teams, but in regards to something I saw yesterday, but
Jimmy, we're not doing this today.
Something I saw yesterday.
Love teachers.
Something I saw yesterday, but I haven't seen much more other than one post. The Derek Favors trade. Did that happen?
I have not heard for sure if it happened, if it's gone down or not.
Okay.
But you got to assume it has gone down because the Utah Jazz went out and signed Ed Davis.
Yeah. Okay.
To a 2-year, $10 million deal. So you got to assume when you connect some dots, they signed Bogdanovich to a big one. So I don't know if it's officially gone through or not.
Okay.
You can check on that if you want. But I
haven't seen much.
You would
about
think
it,
that
so.
that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Jimmy Tico, hashtag Matt loves the balls. I love that. And then Matthew Donald Seaburn, and that's the greatest line. He's making John Wall money. Damian Lillard's going to be making John Wall money.
I'm pretty sure that Nick Strader and I talk about John Wall's contract daily.
John Wall money, man.
John Wall money is just...
Everyone needs a little bit of John Wall money in their life. John Wall can make 50 people.
No, you know whose money we need.
With Bobby Bonilla. Oh, Bobby. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Bobby Bonilla. It's a 1.19 million to 2025, I believe. So
crazy.
Dude's getting paid like crazy.
It's insane.
So let's move on, unless you have something you want to bring up.
No, I think we're good now.
We're going to talk about some winners and losers in free agency / just moves we like in general and moves we don't like in general.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about Zach has a best available list.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring that up, and I'll just comment on that as well. So teams, I love Utah. I love what Utah's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Utah
sure.
last year was a good basketball team. They added a guy that I think is very undervalued. Now, is he overpaid? Probably. In Bojan Bogdanovich. So many wins. If you watch the Game of Zones, I love that. So many wins. He's going to a team that's going to have a lot of wins. And then they end up getting Mike Conley. Obviously, this is not just this. It's the whole moratorium period. They get Mike Conley Jr. I love that move. And then they added Ed Davis, a guy that is severely underpaid. He should be making more than $5 million. Actually, he was one of the big reasons why Brooklyn was so good. He was able to provide them some inside presence. He's a guy that can get some shot blocking, good rebounding. He doesn't need the ball to score. He's a guy he's a junkyard dog down there. Mm-hmm. I love that type of player. I think Utah has positioned themselves to a chance to win the Western Conference this year.
I think that a lot of teams positioned themselves to win the Western Conference. And I agree. I think Utah did a really good job. But if we're going to talk about a Western Conference team, I don't think they positioned themselves to win a championship. But if you want to give an A+++ to any NBA team over the last month and a half, it's the Pelicans. Yeah. What they've done and what they've turned that team just into the assets and the different players they brought in, I mean, is insane.
No, it's crazy what they were able to do. Obviously, getting Zion Williamson kind of kick-started the whole rebuild process. And then the Lakers, fortunately, getting them the 4th pick, and then they were able to turn that into some more picks and some cap room. They are able to really pretty much rebound on the fly. Now, I don't think they're making the playoffs next year. I really don't. I think that there's so many teams such as Dallas and a lot of these teams at the bottom that got better. I actually think Phoenix got a heck of a lot better. They finally have a point guard for the first time ever. What?
No, just you think Dallas is better positioned than the Pelicans?
To make the playoffs this year? Yeah. They almost made the play. They were a team that was competing for Sacramento, a team that's keeping what they're going on and adding some pieces. I think that's a team that has a chance who threatened to make the playoffs last year. I think that Dallas they didn't have Porzingis, and they were a team that they were very close to winning a lot of the games that they ended up losing. I think you have Porzingis in the mix. This team becomes a heck of a lot better as well. Okay. They re-signed Dwight Powell. They just added Seth Curry. Yeah. I think Seth Curry would have been the perfect fit for the LA Lakers as a start. I'd have him as a starting point guard, but
they're strapped,
and you can't. Yeah, you'd have to offer them the mid-level, and the Dallas Mavericks offered them $8
million a year.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to give. They couldn't give Seth Curry that type of money. So I really like what New Orleans has done because what they've done in being able to bring in all these players, and I just need to see it work.
Yeah,
before I can proclaim them as playoff contenders. I just don't think they are this year.
That's fair.
Because you got to remember, even the great Anthony Davis was 13-7 or 13-9 when he entered the league. Zion, let's see what his transition period to the league is going to be.
For sure.
Dallas would win the EuroLeague championship for sure. Casey, that's great. I wish they would have gotten Dragic. Him and Doncic are like best friends. Yeah. They won a EuroLeague title together.
So Dallas didn't want him for, I believe, financial reasons. Yeah. It would have screwed some things up with their capabilities.
It's funny because we were talking about that trade. The trade that Dallas, so the trade that went down that we all thought were, Dragic was going to Dallas. That trade was actually a trade that was able to happen due to salary cap and everything, that all the money matched up. The trade that Dallas said they thought they agreed upon, which was that Rookie and Kelly Olynyk actually couldn't do it because financial reasons made it where they couldn't accept the trade.
Interesting.
So it's funny. I think Dallas heard the whispers of, oh my God, you took on that contract, that's a bad move. And they were like, yo, we meant we wanted this one. It's almost like the Memphis Grizzlies when they were like, no, we wanted you to take this Brooks, not Dylan Brooks. We wanted you to have Marshawn Brooks because they were like, oh, well, this trade was supposed to be stupid. Like, that's what I think comes down to when it comes to it. But I really do think that I really like what Utah's done. I like to an extent what the Pacers have done. I think losing Bojan Bogdanovic and Thaddeus Young's going to help them, is going to bring them back a little bit. Brogdon, to me, I think it's a meh deal, and it could be a home run or it can be a absolute dud because the guy's already had so many injuries in his history so far in the NBA. 4 years, $85 million. That's a lot for a guy that is never really been.
Guards a lot of money,
but I mean that's a lot of money. I mean that's $21.5 million a year or 20 whatever the actual breakdown of it comes down to. That's a lot of money. Like Brogdon's good. I don't think he's that good. And then they ended up getting Jeremy Lamb, which I think was actually a steal in the market for 3 years, 31.5.
Yeah,
Jeremy Lamb's a very good NBA player. He's going to add some length. He can kind of fill in that Thaddeus Young role. But my problem is, and I don't see anything on here, and maybe if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, who they replacing Thaddeus Young and Bojan Bogdanovic with? They went and got Goga in the draft. They have Sabonis and they have Miles Turner.
Yeah.
I mean, who's that other wing guy that they're gonna count on? And I just don't see it.
I don't know.
But I also like them getting that point guard in Brogdon. No, Malcolm Brogdon. I think if he is who he is, that's a very good deal. So,
I agree with that.
Any deals that you love or any teams that you've been falling in love with that we haven't really kind of talked about?
So, because I'm going to mention the Wizards again, just because they're my team. How's it feel that the Cavs just do nothing? There's nothing to even like.
Well, they have no salary cap room.
Either do the Wizards, but
the thing is with them is keep an eye in the next couple weeks for Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. They extended his guarantee, which means that they're going to either buy him out or they're not going to trade him. And then also think about, I forget, there's a couple other guys that might be on the move that's on this team. So just keep your eyes out for the Cavs, but not in that kind of sense.
I love the Wizards aren't going to be good. They're not going to be good for a couple years at least, but they brought back Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant's a good player. He's a good player.
I mean, he's young, and he wasn't even supposed to come close to what he did last year.
He's a good player.
They brought him from the Lakers for nothing.
Yeah.
And he had a really good year last year. I think getting him at a very team-friendly $25 million for 3 years is
in this NBA, that's a very, very, very
especially
good deal.
When you're paying Jan Mahimi and Dwight Howard just to hang out and do whatever they do.
Oh my God, there are so many calamities of contracts on that Washington Wizards.
It's disgusting. I love I like Bogdanovic going to Utah.
Wins.
I really like that. And then I honestly believe that the Sixers were huge winners in all of this. I think that the Sixers were huge winners.
I like
Rock Nation. I can't continue to stress that too much. How much I believe Rock Nation won.
I'll go through, and this is we got a printout of all the contracts that's happened up until about the 5 o'clock hour. So I'm just gonna go over some bad contracts, contracts, and love contracts.
Let me say one more.
Go ahead.
JJ Redick to the Pelicans. I really like.
That's a great deal.
I really like
deal.
JJ Redick to the Pelicans.
I do not like Al-Farouq Amino to the Magic. It's 3 years, $29 million, which I think is kind of a bargain for a guy of Al-Farouq Amino's talents. But they got a lot of guys like him. They got Dwayne, is it Bacon? Or no, they have Jonathan Isaac there. They have Mo Bamba there. They have Vucevic there. I mean, Al-Farouq Amino is a 4 or a very, very small ball 5. I don't think he fits there. I don't understand the deal, considering that this team made the playoffs. I know they're trying to build on that. I don't see the deal. I don't like the deal. I think it's a great contract for his talents, but a bad fit. I absolutely love the Bojan Bogdanovic deal, although I think it's a little pricey at 4 years, $73 million, just under $20 million at the end of that contract might hurt them. Brogdon, I'm a Met on. I love Damari Carroll to the Spurs. 2 years, 13 mil. That's a Spurs type player, I think. I mean,
Okay.
I've always loved DeMar Carroll's game when he was with Toronto. Then he was in Brooklyn when Brooklyn was terrible. I love Ed Davis to the Jazz. I brought that up already. Enes Kanter, 2 years, 10 mil.
That's a steal.
You can't tell me that there's more people out there that would have. Yeah.
Steal.
Dame Lillard, I love it because you have to do it. Wes Matthews signs a 1-year minimum deal with the Bucks. I like that. Give him some wing shooting, scoring there. A guy that can come off the bench, an experienced guy when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah.
This team needs stuff like that. I absolutely love. I'm like meh on the Portis. I love Mike Scott. You know my affinity from Mr. Michael Scott to the Sixers. 2 years, 9.8 mil. I think he's going to add more. That's some depth. They need guys that can come off the bench, get a bucket, because he can get a bucket. And he's tall. I mean, he had that good year with the Wizards that year that he brought him in.
He's able. I mean, he kind of had that comeback year with the
and
Wizards.
I hate Thaddeus Young to the Bulls. 3 years, 41 mil.
Why? Too much
Hate
money?
it. Yes, I think it's too much. I guess I've never been a fan of Thaddeus Young's game.
Okay.
I don't think he doesn't shoot well enough to be an undersized 4 in this league, and he's not a 3. So I want to kind of end this part of the podcast because we'll talk a little bit about some stuff here in a second. But unless you have something you want to bring up after we're gonna do your top list.
Who is? I want to point out just because you went through a couple names I did not mention. I love that the Clippers were able to keep Patrick Beverly.
Okay.
Love Patrick
Beverly, 3 years, 40
love
mil.
Patrick Beverly.
3 years, 40 mil.
I think that was really a big steal, not steal, but a big keep for them to keep him there.
Mm-hmm.
Trailblazers getting Rodney Hood for $8 million a year.
I think another
nice little.
Here's the thing, Rodney Hood. If you would have told me at the beginning, before the playoffs, he's getting $8 million a year, I'd be laughing at you because he didn't deserve it because he didn't play well. But that playoff run he had with Portland, he adds some depth. He's another scorer for that team that desperately needs to keep on to the bench scoring because they just backed up a Brinks truck for Dame Lillard.
And I like Corey Joseph to the Kings.
Corey Joseph again, another person to stabilize a young team. De'Aaron Fox is a star that you probably don't hear much about because he's in Sacramento. Pairing him with Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes, I think that becomes a really good, young, talented core there. They're getting rid of Cauley Stein, so they have a little bit of free agency room.
Bring in Trevor Ariza, just throw him into the corner.
Another guy that they can bring in that is a vet that can teach this team how to win. Maybe teach Harrison Barnes a little bit more, about the NBA instead of, because Harrison Barnes was so hyped that, he's kind of disappointed in the sense of who he thought Harrison Barnes should be. Maybe a Trevor Ariza brings out some stuff into him, and that could be a good thing for him.
And when we talk about some of these guys getting paid, let's just think about this. Daniel House is going to make $3.5 million a year.
I like Garrett Temple to the Brooklyn Nets, a backup.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Temple's game.
And I think we have to I don't really care about the contracts, but the Lopez brothers get to play together.
I love that. And then hopefully, because Powell says he wants to play, hopefully Toronto signs Pau Gasol, and then we can have
brothers.
I'm telling you,
brothers
you can have Lopez's on the line and the Gasol's on the line, and have them just go at each other. I would pay. Forget who's Kawhi. Who cares? Get them out of there. Let's have this a 2-on-2 matchup, and that's the NBA game for me. I don't need to see anything else. I'll pay it.
Are there any big losers to you outside of the Knicks?
They're the biggest losers of all. Houston not being able to get Jimmy Butler. They're strapped for cash. They have no room. So that means they're signing guys like Austin Rivers, retaining his bird rights and bringing him on, and they can sign him in excess of the salary cap.
If the Lakers don't get Kawhi, they are bigger losers than the Knicks.
Yeah, and
it's all because they waited.
No,
there's nothing left.
No, I don't think.
They'll get Cousins and they'll get Danny Green.
No, the Lakers are. I think Danny Green. If Kawhi doesn't go, if Kawhi stays in Toronto, either Toronto or Dallas is going to throw him a lot of money. I think that would be the destinations if Danny Green doesn't go with them to the Lakers. The Lakers got Anthony Davis.
Okay.
They got LeBron. They're not losers. You can't be losers when you bring in Anthony Davis.
That's fair.
The Rockets, again, Gerald Green, they re-signed him. Daniel House, they're just running it back at this point now. I also didn't like, who was it? Obviously I like what the Wizards, the Thunder. Again, strapped for cash, can't really do anything. They brought in Mike Muscala under an undisclosed deal that I haven't been able to find.
Yeah.
Mike Muscala is a decent, stretch 4. He'll come off the bench. They're trying to get rid of Steven Adams. I think at this point you need to keep Steven Adams and just go with what you have, because I mean you put yourself in this when you gave your two guys huge contracts. So to me, and I also think the Magic, I don't like Terrence Ross getting over $11 million a year and Al-Farouq Amino. I'm not a fan of those two deals for the Orlando Magic, but I love them keeping Vucevic. Like, good for Vucevic.
Vucevic just seems like that guy that's going to be in Orlando forever.
Well, he was talking about maybe jetting if there was some big money, and then I think the Magic were like, we'll give you 10 mil extra.
I can't remember the names, and maybe you can give.
Cousins
one of them is
Cousins needs to go to the Knicks so that he can fight James Dolan. Nick Carpenter coming out strong on the comments today. Thank you. I'd love to see that. Him and Oakley beating him up.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
please.
Great. I actually just want to see Oakley. Pound on Dolan. Who was the other player outside of Mirotic that decided to go to Europe? Had $40 million offers, and there were two guys, Mirotic and someone else.
I can't remember.
Just up and said, "I'm going to Europe anyways."
And Darren Collison retiring when he's probably in line for a $12 to $15 million contract. So but for him, I'm not gonna put him down for doing that, because he's following his path and his religion, and he's doing what he thinks is best for him. And he's already made a boatload of money too, so I can never hate a guy like that.
You were talking earlier, I think you said about Dwight Howard and a player that has played on a bunch of teams. So the Wizards signed Ish Smith.
Ish Smith has played everywhere.
12 teams in 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
12 teams in 9 years. There was 3 years straight where he played on two different teams for 3 years straight. Just couldn't stick on a team, and that's crazy to me. But so
here, I want you to do your list. I also want to tell. I wanted to start the podcast off like that. We had some people interrupt, so not interrupt. Greatly appreciate the interruptions.
Yeah, why didn't say they interrupted us?
I don't know. I feel like my mustache keeps getting into my mouth. I mean, and then this keeps popping up. Got to get this trimmed up. But can you tell me a situation that went from absolutely no hope to title contenders next year than Brooklyn? I mean,
they're not title contenders next year. Let's be real.
They will be. They will be when the betting odds come out. They will be title contenders next year.
Without KD.
No, I meant the following year. I'm sorry.
I'm like, are you? What are you?
No. This is already. Right now is already this year.
Right,
I'm talking about the following year. No, they're not title contenders this year. Give me the tea. I like that. Thank you, Macy. No one was getting my reference. I'm just gonna sit here and drink my tea like Kermit the Frog. I'm just gonna sit here and drink my tea.
Okay.
All right. Brooklyn went from a team, and I'm going to talk directly to the camera here. Talk to the lovely people watching right now. Brooklyn was a team 3 years ago, no hope. They had no draft picks. They had no one good on their roster. Everyone was just bashing them. They brought in a new GM. It's Steve Marks, I believe is his name. He comes in there, takes a risk on D'Angelo Russell, but he had to take on a Timothy Mozgov deal from the Lakers. Get some draft picks. Finally, they're able to draft this year. They're able to make their draft pick this year. Karis LeVert, a guy that they drafted in the late second round or the early second round, guy that comes out, was their best player before he got hurt. Don't get it twisted. D'Angelo Russell's good. LeVert was their best player, and he was the all-star of that team before he got hurt. I'm telling you, he's a phenomenal basketball player. Everyone says, "Oh, just tank and you can end up getting in the Zion lottery." Well, they said no. They went out and played. D'Angelo Russell. The Brooklyn Nets fans need to thank D'Angelo Russell. It gave them a glimmer of hope to make them a viable destination, and the idiots. Wow, I was trying to think of a different, bigger word. It didn't work. The idiots down the road at Madison Square Garden, fumbled their chance to get these guys, and them being a team that was able to show off with Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, these guys that I think that are very talented players. Now Kyrie's sitting there going like, well, hey, Brooklyn kind of looks good. Kevin Durant does the same thing. They went from a team that had no hope to now the most hope that you can think coming out of this. And you're the team that you thought had the most hope in Boston to that has a glimmer of hope now. I mean, no one knows how Kemba's going to work there. They didn't capitalize. They only capitalized on one of the draft picks that they got from Brooklyn, and that was the Jason Tatum deal. But the only reason they got him is because they traded that to Philly. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Boston had all the keys to become a superpower in the NBA, and they kind of just got lost in it. And I honestly think that the Brooklyn Nets right now, today, is so much better position than the Boston Celtics. And everybody called Brooklyn the laughing stock of the NBA. I honestly will sit here and say this right now. The Brooklyn Nets will have a better record this year than the Boston Celtics.
This year?
This year.
Believe that?
This year, without KD. I think that the overall team plays for each other. And you saw that last year. Now, D'Angelo Russell, now that's going to be big because guys like Hollis Jefferson really liked him, and so did LeVert. They really liked them. But I think Kyrie's going to come in there, rally the troops. I know that people don't think disregard him.
Hollis Jefferson's a free agent.
Is he? Well,
I believe
okay, well, then that's a good thing because he loves D'Angelo Russell.
Well, it's hard to say. You don't know what Kyrie's going to do with this group.
Spencer Dinwiddie's a good NBA player.
I don't.
Karis LeVert's a good NBA. Jared Allen's a good NBA player. Joe Harris is a very good NBA player.
I agree. I think they're a playoff team.
Yeah,
and be better than Boston. I don't know.
But I think that they want to. They want to. Here's the thing: they want to win for each other. And it seemed like the culture in Boston was, I want to do it for me. I want to pay my own way.
Do you just hope that Kyrie
but
doesn't?
It wasn't just Kyrie. It was Jason Tatum.
No,
Jaylen Brown. They were all like that.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, you take that Brooklyn mentality that they made last year as a team. You hope that Kyrie doesn't come in and change.
Absolutely,
that, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You hope that he can come in and have that mentality.
But
the problem with Kyrie is exactly something that I had said in the past. I don't think it was on one of our shows. Is Kyrie is way too passive aggressive to be a leader. He is the type of person that the same thing when there were the complaints about a couple of his teammates partying in Miami the night before a game. At 5 o'clock in the morning. He didn't like it. He didn't like because he's all about basketball, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But if you say you're going to be the leader of a team, you need to sit those guys down and say, we're trying to win a championship. You need to get your stuff together. He doesn't do that.
No, he didn't.
He's too passive aggressive. So I question that if any – I don't know. I hope it works out.
The first year in Boston, though, you didn't have these reports coming out like that. It was the second year, the year that he wanted to leave. So I think maybe that first year without KD, he plays nice.
Well, and that's
and then when KD comes back, they're like, all right, well, we're going to be good, so I'm going to definitely play nice now.
But I'm not completely disagreeing. I think he could do what you – because, again, I said this an hour ago. This is the first time he's ever been somewhere where he chose to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's never been able to make that choice.
I need Zach's best free agent list stat.
All right. Well – if I'm just going to throw them out there, not really in an order.
But, no, throw them in order.
All right. Well, Kawhi, obviously.
Absolutely.
Kawhi Leonard is clearly the best free agent.
He's definitely the best free agent out there.
DeMarcus Cousins.
I think that's correct. What's out there right now?
Then everybody else. I'm going to name a couple guys, but it's basically hold on. It's Kawhi, DeMarcus Cousins.
I'm cheating. I'm looking.
Everybody else. I think Marcus Morris is going to be a great fit somewhere. I don't know where he's going to end up. But I think he's going to be a strong fit somewhere.
Oh, my God. I have an idea.
Clearly, Kevin Looney is no longer on this list.
I have an idea. The Morris twins go to Chicago, so you have Milwaukee-Chicago twin battle 6 times a year.
I think that sounds fantastic.
And then you have the Gasol brothers in Toronto. This is the greatest thing ever. Let's get it done. Get it done, NBA. I want to see it.
I think a name that's still out there, 2 names, as we talk about these guards that are getting a little bit of money just because the guards are needed. I think Quinn Cook, TJ McConnell, they're not going to get paid a lot, but they're going to be solid role guys that are necessary. I'm actually shocked that Quinn Cook is still available unless he's potentially waiting for the Lakers. I thought that he was a young guard that would have went a little faster than this.
Oh yeah, he can fight. He can fill into that Mario Chalmers role, a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hand but can shoot, knock down the big shots as he's proven. I like that.
Somebody that the Wizards are looking at, Isaiah Thomas. If he's healthy, he can score. I mean, he can't defend anything, but I think that if he can stay healthy, he can score some points.
He can defend himself from all those.
The last one I'll throw out there is Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't think it's anything great, but with what's left, we're talking about what's left because so many. I mean, this list is huge of people that went literally in the first 5 hours last night. So there's not much left in regards to the free agency.
It's very good NBA talent that has been picked up. Trill Stein, to me, is interesting because he's a guy that I think can help teams win. But I also think that he gets into his head too much and thinks he's better than he is, and he helps teams lose.
Okay.
He was obviously not picked. I mean, where he's picked, and he's obviously not panned out for what the pick he is. But I think he's the comparisons are easy to say he's JaVale McGee, but he kind of is JaVale McGee. maybe not as mentally. I mean, he wanted to name his name. He wanted to be named Trill Stein. So yes, he's mentally not there a little bit. There's a name that you have on there that I think is very interesting. Rajon Rondo. I think he's going to sign for the vet men in LA.
I agree.
If they get Kawhi,
I agree with that.
If they get Kawhi, and if not, then he'll sign for more in LA than that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty comprehensive free agent.
We were all over
roundup.
the place, but there's a lot of stuff to go over.
So if you guys in the comment section think we missed anything, let us know. We'll get back at it. Get over to Facebook. Why don't you go over to our Facebook page because you're right there already.
Yep.
And why don't you go up and join the group? It's probably going to be like right here to join. Get over there and join the group. We want you, and we want to hear from you guys. We've been posting a lot lately. We're not getting any responses, so I'm going to put it on you guys for not responding to us.
But you guys post. I mean,
post.
We want to hear your questions, whatever you want to talk about, bring up topics that we may not have brought up. So feel free to start the conversation.
Yo, Nick Carpenter, if you thought that he was going to go to Philly, Al Horford, you should have put it in the comments. We would have been like, no, you're stupid. And then you're like, ha, got you. That's what it'd been like. And then if you're also new to this, go over to our Twitter page. It's at Matt&Zack Show on Twitter. Get over there, please. Help us get up to about, we're trying to, maybe I should expand it to 2,000 followers.
We wanted
football.
We wanted 1,000 followers by football, and we got that like 2 weeks after we made that.
So maybe 2,000 followers before foosball starts. I don't know, because that's when our podcast picks up, bro. I mean, NBA, we're like,
we're just
NFL,
teasing everybody
NFL,
right now.
I mean, I can't even keep. I'm not even going to put it on the screen. That's how high we are up when it comes to our NFL coverage. Absolutely love it. Fantasy football is going to be big for us. We're actually going to be doing, and Zach can announce it. I mean, you can announce it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a. Excuse me, I got a blog here. Sports and Stuff podcast with Matt&Zack Fantasy Football League.
Yes.
Basically, we're going to open a 12-man league with Matt and I joining. So we're going to open it up for 10 additional people.
Let's stay on for 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Because we have a person in the comment section, Macy Banghart, no relation to me at all, wants the stuff part of this podcast, and she wants a Toy Story 4 review.
All right, well, if you give a Toy Story 4 review, I saw a movie this week, too. So
all right, so I'm going to give you a quick Toy Story 4 review.
All right, go.
It's everything you think Toy Story 4 should be. So, no, Toy Story 4...
Good thing you don't give movie reviews.
No, so Toy Story 4, I thought it was a very, very good children's movie. Now, again, I saw it yesterday morning. We got the...
Did you go to the matinee?
Not that quite matinee, but we got a kind of a reduced price matinee. It was like the
matinee goes until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Not for all new movies. No, trust me. Not on weekends. I'm telling you, it doesn't. I just paid $9 a ticket for it. That's not matinee.
Right.
$4.99 was the matinee price. Don't try to get at me on this. I know, because we didn't want to go at 10:30, so we went at 12. Whatever the point. Whatever. Toy Story 4. So what ends up happening? I'm gonna spoil it, I guess.
Don't spoil it.
It's your typical story.
Do not spoil it.
I'm not going to. It's your typical story of what you think Toy Story review is. I actually really liked it. The characters are true to themselves. There's some twists and turns down there. I think it's a great kids movie. If you have a kid, definitely go see it with your kid. If you're an adult that just wants to relive Toy Story, it reminds you of every single Toy Story, but more modern. I think it was well written. It's a good movie. I'm not going to sit there and say it's one of the best animated movies I've ever saw, but I mean...
Not in bougie Dublin. Sorry, Mace.
Yeah, not in bougie Dublin. Yeah, you better calm that down, telling us how our prices are here on Sawmill Road. No, I just honestly, to be completely honest with you, it's everything you think Toy Story is going to be. And every subplot every story that they've ever, Toy Story 1, 2, 3, it's the same thing as 4. A toy gets lost, they go find it. That's it. But it's good. It's
there
funny.
Any murderous bears like Lotso in the third one?
Dude, there is there's
don't spoil anything.
There's some creepy toys for. There's creepy toys in there, so it's really funny. And then there are 2 bears in there that are absolutely hilarious. That are you have to go see it, but they're kind of murderous bears in the most funny way possible. So that's my Toy Story 4.
I want to see Toy Story. I don't know if we're going to make it because of some other movies coming up. But
what movie did you see, Zach?
I was on the other side of the spectrum. You went and saw a nice little Toy Story. I saw Annabelle. And I'm just gonna do that. When I was leaving the house to come up here to record or to do the live show, I told Michelle that I was going to bring up Annabelle because I know that you hate hate horror movies.
Casey.
I would love to do that for you, Casey.
You know what? Do you want us to do a stuffed
we
podcast?
We will sit here. We will watch Harry Potter, and we will just talk about it for hours if people will listen.
I have a question.
But
I have a question for him. Why is it got to be you? Why can't I be on it? I'm a big Potter head now. I like Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's why I said we could do it together.
But he just said Zach Laux give a Harry Potter review. Like, bro, I like Harry Potter too.
Yeah, not as much as I'm weird with Harry Potter. I got like 4 wands and stuff. Yeah, I'm weird. We'll leave it at that. But Annabelle.
Okay.
It's a good movie. If you like the Conjuring universe, you're a horror movie fan. I don't know if he's watching, but I know Phil Weeble is a big horror movie fan. We talk about him a lot. It's definitely worth seeing. I'd say it's just up there with some of the other Conjuring movies. Made me jump a little bit. Not as good as Annabelle Creation, but worlds better than the first Annabelle, which was awful. It's just an awful movie.
Toy Story 4 made me I had to jump into Toy Story 4.
That's exactly why you don't watch horror films.
No, this one gets you. I'm telling you. This one, go watch Toy Story 4. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, okay, I got you. Okay. Like, it gets you a little bit.
But I would definitely suggest seeing it if you like horror movies. I think that it does well for the whole Conjuring universe. But one more thing movie-wise. Spider-Man tomorrow.
Oh, so we want to go see it. Me and Macy are thinking about going to see it early on the 4th, but the earliest one is noon, and I don't know what we're doing those days. I will see Spider-Man within the next week.
So I have to see it within the next week.
Probably.
All right.
I think
so we can actually talk about it.
Here's the thing. We watch these movies, and then we come here, and we have to give these like watered down reviews. Like at least with Avengers, we're like, well, we gave you guys like 2.5, 3 weeks. If you haven't seen it, don't listen to us.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, I think we can let it marinate for like 2 weeks and let people watch it and then come back. Because holiday week, I mean, my people, they're not going to go want to watch a movie.
I'll say if you don't go see it on the 4th and you see it later at some point, let me know. Because Michelle does not want to see it, so I'm going by myself. So if you guys go, maybe I'll join your date.
Absolutely. Well, it's never a date with my wife. It's just living everyday life, and I love it. All
right,
Casey, I'm not a pothead, and cool. And that's Casey. Thank you for that last comment. But guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. We are 1 hour, 11 minutes into this. Seemed like it went I feel like we've only been doing this for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes.
But yeah, this was awesome. We really appreciate you guys tuning in.
Everybody tuning in.
Again, 6 watchers right now as we're trying to end this. So again, all 6 of you, thank you so much. If you watched this whole time,
share it. If you think other people want to watch in the future, check it out.
Yeah. And again, we're going to be uploading this to Twitter. We're going to be uploading this YouTube page. I know I didn't do that last week. Some things came up. We'll do it here this week.
Life happens.
Life happens, And I really want to just say thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Do you like this format? Let us know. Do you like this format? I think what I can do is I can also transfer the audio onto a podcast as well from this. So if you like that, let me know. We can try to do both at the same time. I don't know yet. And maybe in the future, we're looking to add a different kind of program to make it more interactive and have some different stuff up there. So
you actually, because I believe the Toy Story thing did kind of cut it off a little bit. But we are, again, it's way early, but come early August, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Fantasy Football League we'll be doing.
Yes.
Again, 12-person league. Matt and I will have our own teams. We'll be inviting 10 people. We will give a little more information of how we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be somehow choosing people based off of followers, likes, between Facebook and Twitter. We'll figure that out later. But we're excited to announce that. It's
absolutely.
Football season will mark our first full year of actually participating in our podcast together. So we look forward to it.
Macy just wants us to keep talking. She goes, I like it. I love it. I want some more.
Well, that's just because she doesn't want us to go.
She doesn't want me to go downstairs. Yeah. She wants to keep her, she's like, oh, Matt's here, but, he's upstairs, so I can just keep him away for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But no, again, thank you guys so much. We're going to head over to obviously you're on Facebook now, so get over our group. Like the group, send some stuff on there, comment, whatever.
To all of our new followers over the last week, I think we more than doubled our Facebook group members.
Awesome.
Thank you for everyone that joined.
Head over to Twitter at Matt&Zack Show. Get over there, like us there. Try on the road to 2K over there, and then if you want to go listen to us in the non-audio version, if you're driving down the coast of Maine, I don't know why I said that. If you're driving and you want to listen to us, head over to Apple iTunes, the Apple Podcast. We're over there. We're on Anchor, and we're also on Spotify at Matt&Zack Show. Get over there.
And at some point in time, we will figure out how to exit this without making it awkward. But you know what? For now, I'm gonna let Matt take this.
So look. You go like this, and then you close it, and then you just hit end video. We're still talking. Don't double click. Exit. There you go. We're only weird a little bit, guys.